Hi everyone, my name's Serina Hourican and I work for Bank of America. I'm based in Singapore in the Global Transaction Services team, and my current role is heading up the Global Commercial Banking Sales team. I'm delighted to be joined today by my very good colleague Deepali Pendse, so I'll let Deepali introduce herself.
Thanks, Serina. Hi everyone, my name is Deepali Pendse. I work with Bank of America and I've been with them for the last 8 years. I run the GTS, Global Transaction Services, Southeast Asia Corporate Business, and I honestly enjoy working here. Serina, you've moved from UK to Singapore to be with us. So tell me a little bit about your move and how did this come about?
So Deepali, it's been a little bit challenging because I managed to move about 9 months ago in the middle of the pandemic, but unfortunately I was delayed by about 5 months. So I had to start my APAC role from London, which was challenging because I've now got a team based in 8 different countries across 4 different time zones. But doing that from London was quite difficult, especially when I had to get up so early in the morning. And as you know, Deepali, I'm not really a morning person. So that was kind of my first challenge. And then I was delighted that I could make it to Singapore back in July, and just being in the right time zone makes such a big difference.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think to a very large extent, I agree with you that I'm not a morning person as well. But, over a period of time, you just learn to be one. So I think it's been interesting to hear about your career. And to a very large extent, I would say that in the last 25 years, I have seen my career evolve as well. So I worked in 3 different locations. I started off in India, moved to New York, and then in Singapore. In between, I took a stint by going back to school. I went to INSEAD Fontainebleau to complete my executive MBA. And within the 3 continents that I have worked with, or 3 countries that I worked with, I also moved into different lines of businesses. I've been a corporate banker, I did a foreign exchange, I've been in global transaction services, and surprisingly, I've also been on the sell side as a regional treasurer for Tata Steel. And in every single move, I've actually been able to, grow and honestly invest in myself. So my biggest takeaway has been, I have to make sure, and every single person has to make sure that they actually invest in their careers, whether it's going back to school or making calculated moves in their career, and make sure that when you're doing that, you're making yourself a little bit more uncomfortable, because that's when it brings the best out of you. So tell me, Serina, how did you do that? How did you make yourself uncomfortable, and who helped you get to this level?
So I think, Deepali, we've had similar paths in that we've had a lot of mobility, right? Whether it's different geographies or different lines of business or even different organizations. But I have to say that I really was supported by the bank when I moved from London to Singapore, and I really had to let my manager know quite early on, probably a year in advance, that I was open to new opportunities. And I think the other thing is not letting just your manager know, but other people globally that actually you really want to put your hand up and work somewhere else. And I've only ever worked in the UK before, so for me this is fascinating, learning about different countries and different cultures as well. So I'm really pleased I can be here, and every day I'm learning something new. So Deepali, you asked me about who helped me move, and actually there's been a number of men and women who have helped me, but what really I think helped is that these people and these seniors really believed in promoting diversity, and I think that's really, really important. But what is diversity? Because it's not just male and female, it's people from different backgrounds, different races, LGBT, but just people who think differently. And I think in the past, people have always leaned towards people who will do things the same way as them, act like them, and think like them. And maybe that is the easy path, but actually I think diversity is about having people who think differently and who can, in a comfortable way, challenge each other and get the best out of each other and get more ideas. So I think that's kind of something that we've seen grow in the last 5 years and move away from that kind of think tank mentality.
No, absolutely. And I think the most important aspect is that both of us have been lucky enough to be supported by people who believed in us. And I think What we need to do as senior women is to actually pay that forward. It doesn't really matter whether the people that we're working or talking about or promoting are men or women. It's just about making sure that they are individuals and they're accepted as individuals. And I think towards that, Serina, I do know that you always speak very fondly about a few of your senior women colleagues who have made you what you are today, to be yourself, to believe in your own self. Would you like to share something about them?
Yeah, I really would. And there's one person that comes to mind. And there was a lady who actually brought me into Bank of America. I used to work with her in my previous organization, and I was under her management for about 5 years, but she really helped me grow my network. She really gave me the feedback that I needed to help me grow, whether that was good or my development areas. And one particular example was we were looking at a promotion year, and she actually sat me down and said, look, we could put you through this year, but if you did X, Y, Z, next year I think you'd have a much better chance of getting it. So actually that gave me something to work on for the year, and I was successful that next year in getting my promotion. So I was really, I've always valued her opinion and been ever so grateful to her. But as you said before, Deepali, I think it's really important that now us as senior leaders can pay that forward to others, whether that's within our team or within any part of the organization. And that's something that I really enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis, is helping coach and mentor others to be as successful as they want to be.
I think that was a very tough conversation your manager and your mentor had with you. But it's very interesting to also know that when she said that she would do it for you, she actually completed she kept her word. And I think that is so important too when you're looking up to your mentor or your sponsor within the organization. So that's been phenomenal. And I think the other thing which I can very clearly see is that she's actually made you a part of her inclusive a team. And the reason I say that is because she's been able to keep your individuality. She's been able to let you know that there are certain things which need to be done in a different way, but in the same process, she's actually made sure that you haven't lost what you are. And I think that's what my take on inclusion is. Inclusion is extremely important. It's the second side of the same coin of diversity. And I think, what does inclusion mean to us? In my view, inclusion is all about letting the other person be what he or she is, making sure that you give that person a comfortable space to speak up, to be accepted. And I think the most important is to make sure that when you're hearing, you're actually listening and not just responding or waiting to respond to what the other person's saying. And all these factors actually make a huge amount of difference to the new set of individuals and the new generations who we are working with, because they absolutely are much more sure of themselves than what I was when I was their age.
No, I'd agree with that. And what you've just mentioned really resonates with me. And sometimes when my team come to me and say, oh, Serena, I'm really nervous because I've got to present on this or present to a client, the one thing I say to them is, don't worry, just be yourself. And some people don't like that expression, but I think it's really, really important that people can come to work and be themselves, and that they feel comfortable doing that. And to your point earlier, Deepali, that people around them are listening to them and taking on what they say. So I think that's really important.
No, absolutely, Serina. And I'm so glad that both of us have been lucky to have such people in our professional lives. So I guess to a very large extent, we have come to the end of this video. And I think the most important aspect of our lives have been some sort of a small motto that we have always lived by. So what has yours been, Serina?
So mine is actually failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And I'm like one of those people that likes writing lots of notes and reading over them the whole time.
I can see that.
Sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes not so good. But for me personally, it really works. And I think when you're looking at your career development, is knowing, what that potential next goal or next step could be, and not feeling like when you had the opportunity, you missed out or had any regrets because you didn't say something or you didn't do something. So I think for me, it's definitely failing to prepare is preparing to fail. But having said that, we don't always know what's going to hit us the next day. So sometimes how prepared can you be? But that's life. But what about yourself, Deepali?
So for me, it's a little similar, whether it's your personal life or your professional life. I mean, it's like a stock market. It goes up and it goes down. And I think to a very large extent, I would definitely think that treating your every success as a blessing and your every failure as an opportunity to improve yourself. A failure is something where it gives you an opportunity to learn and grow. If every single human being, and definitely something that I live by, we start looking at our life in this particular way, we actually become a better version of ourselves. And I think that this particular motto has really helped me grow in my life. And it's been a long 25 years of working life, so I can assure you there were lots of ups and equal amount of downs at times. It was fantastic speaking with you, Serina, and this was real fun actually having this conversation with you. And thank you again for moving all the way from UK to be with us in Singapore.
Oh no, thanks so much, Deepali. It definitely was really good fun, and I look forward to doing this again one day, or as we do pretty much every day anyway. But yeah, thank you for having this conversation with me, and thank you for helping me settle into Singapore. I'm enjoying life and my work life here so much so far.
Thank you.